You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
Well, hello everyone. This is Adoley Oduntun of Healthier Living, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Wellness Revolution. Our guest tonight is Dr. Steve G. Jones. And I am so excited to have him on the call with us today. He is a man who has devoted his life to making sure that you can achieve your goals easily. And this is going to be a really special call. Steve, I'd like to welcome you to the call.
Well, thanks, Adelaide. Great to be here.
Great to have you. So I'm going to start with the official bio, and then we're going to jump right in so that we can get as much of Dr. Steve as possible. Imagine living a life in which you have unlimited wealth, focus, and confidence. You see endless, exciting possibilities, and you feel so good about it. Our speaker today has devoted his life to making sure you achieve this goal easily. Whether you're looking to lose weight, stop smoking, unlock your potential, or just improve your overall quality of life, Dr. Steve Jones can help you. He is one of the leading authorities in the world on hypnosis, and he can easily give you the help you need to take your life to the next level. He is a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist and has been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s. He's a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, the American Board of Hypnotherapy, and president of the American Alliance of Hypnotists. He is the author of 25 books on such topics as hypnosis, the law of attraction, and weight loss. He has created over 9,000 hypnosis audio recordings and 22 different online certification programs, which are sold in over 140 countries. Dr. Steve has had a global impact. He's regularly called upon by corporations to increase their sales motivation, performance in their sales teams, and executives. He has had thriving private practice and continues to see clients for a variety of conditions. He works extensively with Hollywood actors, writers, directors, and producers, and he has been featured on Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker as both a hypnotherapist and a millionaire, and he's been interviewed on all of the networks, CNN, ABC, NBC, and CBS, so we are very lucky to have him. Steve, wow, that's quite an introduction.
Well, Adelaide, I like the way you do that. I'm going to have to make that my, when people call your phone and they listen to a message, I'm going to make that my message from now on. I like it.
Thank you, and I'll be happy to share it with you.
All right.
So Dr. Steve's topic is Power Your Mind, Change Your Life. Improving your mental, emotional, and physical health with hypnosis. And we're all ready to hear about this. So let's begin. Now, Dr. Steve, you have an extensive academic background. You've got a doctorate in education. You're a clinical psychologist. You've published a lot of research papers. And yet with all of that, you are now famous in terms of hypnosis. How on earth did you become interested in it, and why has that been the focus of your work?
Well, first of all, just to clarify, I am a hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, and I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, master's specialist, and doctorate in education, because mostly I'm teaching these days. But I got interested in hypnosis back in the 1980s. I was in high school. I was in Riverside Military Academy. My parents threatened to send me to military school, and I never believed them. And then, sure enough, I ended up in military school. So I was looking for an escape. I wanted to get out of there. So I started reading books about metaphysical things and about hypnosis and anything I could to at least get my mind free. And what I found is a book called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by a PhD psychologist named Leslie Leckrone, who's no longer with us. But he wrote a book that really helped me get involved in hypnosis. And I started hypnotizing my roommates. It wasn't long after that the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently, and the athletes came to me wanting to exercise more efficiently. So all these years later, it's the same thing I was doing back as a kid in high school in the 80s, except now the smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers.
Well, it certainly worked for you, so that's fantastic. So let's cover some of the basics, because a lot of people have misconceptions about hypnosis. So how does it work, first of all?
Well, hypnosis works by relaxing you into a state of mind which is called alpha. And you can go into alpha anytime you're driving a car, riding a bike, reading a book, spacing out. Anytime you just get up when you're just going to sleep and you're taking a shower, you can go into alpha anytime you're doing something that you can do without thinking about it too much. It's just kind of a rote activity for you. And so we use that state in hypnosis by putting people into that state and programming them, giving them positive suggestions. So it's just like any other time you would go into alpha, like the times I just mentioned, except for two differences. One, the hypnotherapist is causing you to go there by using relaxing words. And two, instead of being exposed to your TV or whatever stuff may be in the environment, you're getting positive suggestions during that time.
So what are some of the misconceptions that people have around hypnosis? Because I know a lot of people are terrified that they're going to lose control.
Right. A lot of people think that they can go into a coma. There was a famous movie by Woody Allen, not too famous, but famous for a Woody Allen movie, and it's called The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, in which some guy was actually the star. It was actually Woody himself, and he was told that when he was called up, he had to do something, commit a crime, or rob a bank or rob his neighbors. So one of the key words that activated him was the word Madagascar. When he heard that, he had to commit something. So people see that and they think, well, it's just a movie, but maybe that's the way hypnosis is. So this Woody Allen movie, that's who produced it and starred in it, Woody Allen. He was, he was just trying to have fun and make a movie, but you get enough of these things out there and people start to think, well, can I be made to do something against my will, or maybe I can go into a coma or become a zombie, and these things simply are not true. These are fun things in movies, but they're not part of reality.
Well, I guess one of the questions would be, how does it feel to be in a hypnotic state? And we are definitely going to be asking you to give our audience an experience on this call. How does it feel for people?
Well, it feels just like it would during any of the activities I mentioned, just like when you daydream or read a book or ride a bicycle or drive a car or you take a shower, or when you're vacuuming or you just wake up or you're just going to sleep. You can be in hypnosis without realizing you're in hypnosis. So it doesn't necessarily feel like anything. Now, the deeper states, that's alpha that I just described during those circumstances. The deeper states would be theta and delta. When you're in those states, which also correspond to deeper sleep states, you will know that you've been there because you will have been unconscious. But that's not necessary for hypnosis. So a lot of people think, oh, if I don't go unconscious and forget everything, it didn't work. That's simply not true, because you can be in the lightest state of hypnosis, which is alpha, and be aware of what's going on at the same time. Just like when you get road hypnosis when you drive, or when you space out when taking a shower, or just waking up or just going to sleep. You're not really here, not really out of it, but it doesn't really feel any different than your normal reality to you at the time.
And that's very helpful because, of course, you have created an incredible number of sessions and had a huge impact on hundreds of thousands of people, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if in millions at this point in terms of sharing this work. And people are buying the recordings, and there's a perception that unless you work with a hypnotist and you go under, it's not going to be as effective. And yet you've had amazing results with clients from all over the world just in terms of listening to the recordings you've created.
Right. That's why I suggest listening for 21 nights to really maximize your exposure to the recordings. And you can be in an alpha state and still get programmed, still receive the programming. You do not have to be out of it. Now, some people, in fact, my recordings are designed to be listened to at night. So most people, when listening to my recordings, do go into those deeper states just because it's nighttime. They're going to sleep anyway. Research shows that they're still getting the messages, so that's fine. Sort of like when you dream that the phone's ringing, you wake up and the phone was ringing. So your ears are able to take in information and record it. So they're able to take in the words and record them as well. So you don't have to worry if you fall asleep. It's not necessary to go to the deeper stages, but if you do, it's perfectly fine.
And we can listen to them, and if we fall asleep, they're still working.
Yes. In fact, I recommend that because the critical factor is our conscious mind. It says, oh, this is true, this is not true. I hear Dr. Steve G. Jones telling me I'm going to make more money. I don't know if I believe that. That's our critical factor talking. That's our conscious mind, which is weighing everything out. We have to bypass that in hypnosis. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It's programmable like a computer. So if you do listen to it and do go to sleep, that's actually wonderful because we've taken the goalkeeper, the critical factor, out of the picture completely.
Awesome, and of course, I can speak from experience. Listening to your voice is so soothing that you will go to sleep. So it's also a perfect cure for insomnia. You can actually improve yourself and develop great habits and get to sleep.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty great way to go.
Yeah. The only downside is when I talk to my stepmom on the phone, she starts dozing off. But aside from that, as long as I focus on hypnotizing people, I'm okay.
All right. Now, one of the questions people always ask is, can everybody be hypnotized?
Well, this is something that's been pondered for a long time, and Harvard and Stanford have both done research about this. In fact, Harvard published a scale of what they call hypnotic susceptibility, where you can get a numeric rating. It's a self-assessment test. You can look it up online, and you can take it yourself, and you can find out where you fall along the susceptibility scale, as they call it. During my doctoral research and education, I took a little sidestep when I had some free time, and I rewrote I took their test and I rewrote it as a quiz to make it a lot simpler. But the test is fun and interesting to go through. So what happens is, and what you realize, the important findings of both studies by Harvard and Stanford would be that everyone is suggestible, as I like to call it, to a certain degree. We all have a numerical score for our suggestibility. I look at it like electrical conductivity. All substances on the planet will conduct electricity. Some conduct them very well. Some conduct electricity very well, like metal, and some conduct it poorly, like wood. So the fact is that we're all suggestible to some degree. That's why I recommend regular exposure over a limited period of time. So 21 nights of listening to a hypnosis recording, for example, which is really going to drive it home for those who are less suggestible.
Well, that makes sense, absolutely. Okay, I want you to talk about some of the clients you've seen and the range of topics you cover, because that's one of the things that is so wonderful about the body of work you've created. I know that you've kept an active private practice and you've dealt with all kinds of conditions in your practice, but you have created products for health and wellness, for personal success, and just a huge range of topics. I'd love to hear some of the success stories or people, some of your clients, and what you've been able to help them with.
Oh, sure. Well, the story of Jen really sticks in my mind, and she's given me permission to talk about this. Normally, I'm not allowed to discuss anything because of HIPAA regulations, which are federal regulations protecting patients' rights. But Jen was so happy she gave me permission to talk about this. She came to me, it's got to be over 10 years ago now, and she was about 180 pounds over her ideal weight. So it's not that she was 180 pounds, she was 180 pounds over her medically suggested ideal weight. So she had a lot of extra weight.
Wow.
She was on the verge of suicide. In fact, her mom brought her in. She was in her early 20s at the time, 22 or so. And her mom brought her in, and this was essentially their last effort before suicide. And that was made very clear to me. So a lot of pressure riding on that one. I saw her for a total of 5 sessions, and we worked on things like weight loss, proper exercise choices, proper food choices, ways to deal with stress that are more constructive, things like that, over our 5 hypnotic sessions spread out over 5 weeks. And then I didn't hear from her for it must have been about a year. And then I got a handwritten letter from her. This is back when people used to handwrite letters. And it was telling me that she was, first of all, alive, which was great news in and of itself. Not only was she alive, she was thriving. She had married the man of her dreams, which, as I recall, was a 6'2" architect. She had, I believe they had a kid, and either it was on the way or she had already had her child, and she was just, on top of the world. She was just very happy with herself. She had lost a good portion of the weight that she wanted to lose. Keep in mind, weight loss is something that's gradual. When you have a lot of weight, it takes a lot of time. But she was well on her way to, or maybe she'd even reached her target weight by that point. But she was alive and thriving and doing very well. So I look at that as a testimony, not for me, but for 2 things. First of all, the power of hypnosis, and secondly, the resilience of the human spirit. I mean, here's a person who, she didn't have to go to those sessions. Her mom made her, but she didn't have to go. She could have taken her life, but she chose not to. There's something inside her that decided that she's going to live and that she sees more possibility. And I just helped her access that. So that's a huge triumph for hypnosis and the resilience of humans.
Absolutely. What a great story, because weight loss and any condition that takes over your life in that way can just so destroy it, and to be so young in her case. And I think that's what's so wonderful about hypnosis and about the work you do, because you really help people deal with real issues in their lives, and you give them this incredible tool that allows them to make changes, and quite frankly, make changes rapidly. They can listen to a session for 21 days. They can go back to it if they need a tune-up, and they are able to change things. We of course, because we're the wellness revolution, one of the aspects that is really important is our health. And in the special offer that Steve has created for us, there's a weight loss, metabolism, binge eating, cholesterol, dealing with allergies, quitting smoking, which is such an issue, learning how to reverse aging. So you have really created such a body of work, and I know that you have worked with a lot of people on these issues and seen their lives transform.
Absolutely. I've seen it happen before my eyes. Saw it a lot when I had my office in Beverly Hills, and I got to work with actors who had been on top and wanted to get back on top. I was able to help them. Worked with Tom Mankiewicz, the writer of Superman the movie, to help him quit smoking after 45 years. His doctor said, "Hey, quit or it's the end," and he quit with the power of hypnosis and again his own determination. So the resilience again of the human mind. And so I've seen it time and time again. And so it's just my absolute pleasure to have produced these audios that can just reach out, because I'm only one person. I could see clients all day, every day, and I still would only barely touch a small percentage of lives. But with the recordings and the internet, thank goodness, this information and technology and change can reach countless people.
Absolutely. And of course, our show is international, so it's very exciting to be able to give people access to this. Now, I know that you have a lot of health audios that really have helped people transform their lives, transform their health, as the story you shared. But you also deal and have a lot of clients who, like Tom Mankiewicz, come to you in terms of well, his was health, smoking, but personal success. Actors who perhaps have been having challenges with their career and need to get their confidence back. I wanted you to give people a sense of that body of work as well.
Oh, sure. I had a producer who came to me in my Beverly Hills office. He was, it's interesting in his case because he had been a top player in the industry. You realize that in Los Angeles, everyone's a writer, actor, producer. I mean, you go, the waiter hands you the check and he also hands you his card saying he's a writer, actor, producer. The cab driver has got a script he wants you to read. So, everyone in LA is in the industry, even if they're really not, they think they are or they want to be. This guy really was. He had his previous movie, I think he had been paid personally about $10 million, and now he was down and out. He was on the outside. So the interesting thing about that whole world is sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're on top of the world, sometimes they don't even want to talk to you. And so he had been on top of the world, and at the point he came to me, they didn't even want to talk to him. Because I think he had struck out with something right after that big hit. So he came to me wanting to get back in the game, get his mojo back, and that's exactly what I did. Now, with people like that, it's a little easier. Or, with any of us who have something where we have been successful in the past, we have been on top of our game, we have had some success, even if it's not in the area where we're working on now, as long as we know what success feels like and tastes like and looks like, it's easier to get them back there. And he knew it very well. So I was able to create a bridge, and we do this using neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, a bridge between where he was at the moment and where he had been when he was on top of his game, so that those two would become equal, so that he would have all the mojo and the gusto and everything he needed to produce something that was worthy, that people really wanted to watch and that was representative of his true ability. And so he was able to do that. So he's, I'm not allowed to say his name. He has not given me permission to use his name. But if I mentioned it, you would definitely know who this is. And you'll find examples like this in everyday life too. Just everyday people who just were down and out. They were on top of their game. They got down and out, and they got back up again with the power of hypnosis.
You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
Now, one of the things that I really liked is you also have a series of recordings that really deal with heightened states of developing our consciousness and the sort of spiritual aspect of us. You have things for our mental, emotional, and physical state, but you have things like mastering astral projection and lucid dreaming, kundalini activation, a whole series like that. And I was curious as to what led you to incorporate this into that and the kind of successes that people have had with those.
Yeah, when I was studying back to military school in the 80s, when I was learning about hypnosis with the Complete Guide to Hypnosis by Leslie DeCron, I was also reading a lot of metaphysical books, Llewellyn and other writers who wrote about astral projection and metaphysical topics. And I was really fascinated. Again, I was looking for an escape. So I would start practicing things like astral projection in my bunk bed in military school. And I would tell all my friends, because we had roommates. So I had 2 other roommates, and we were connected by a hallway to a suite with 3 other people. So I'd tell them to be really quiet and what I was doing. And, I didn't know if it was going anywhere. I didn't know if it was working until one night I had a dream that I was out of my body. And I thought, this is unusual. And I was encountering this other kid in military school. Now, in military school, you're supposed to be in bed at 10 o'clock. If you're out of your room after 10 o'clock, you're in big trouble. We were out of our rooms, far from our rooms. We were probably a football field from our rooms. And not only that, but this person who I met in my quote unquote dream, I didn't really associate with him because he was one of the bad kids in school, and I tried to associate with the good kids as much as possible to stay out of trouble, because trouble is what got me in military school anyway, almost failing ninth grade, so didn't want any more trouble. So here I am in this dream, out after taps, out after 10 o'clock with this troubled kid, and then I just woke up. And I thought, oh, that was just a dream. Even though it felt weird, my body felt like energy during the dream. So I asked him the next day, I said, hey, what did you dream about? Just an innocent question, not offering any information at all. He said, I dreamt about you. And I said, really? What did you dream about me? And he described the scenario. Well, we were out after 10 o'clock. We were in trouble. We were hiding behind a vehicle, trying not to get caught. The assistant commandant was walking by. That's exactly what I had, quote unquote, dreamt. That's how I knew I was onto something. That's how I knew this astral projection thing was not just in my mind. So I decided years later, this is the early 80s this happened, so years later, I decided, hey, I can make something that helps people do this, helps people explore the spiritual dimension of themselves. We know so little about that. Physicists are starting to realize, and even medical doctors are realizing that there's a limit to their knowledge. Beyond that, it just kind of gets weird when you start looking at the quantum universe. Even Einstein, he didn't want to accept it. He didn't want to accept the quantum universe. So we've got that going on in physics. We've got medicine finding that thinking positive thoughts actually does help. And so this metaphysical revolution is on. So I thought it would be a wonderful contribution to add to it by presenting something that I knew I had experienced.
Well, that's a great story to hear that you had that direct experience. And I think that's one of the things that I asked Dr. Steve as a show that deals with health and wellness. We're focused on wellness in every aspect of our lives: physical, emotional, spiritual, mental. Every area is important for us in terms of being a whole being, and that's what I love about the special offer. So I'm going to tell everybody, go right now to the special offer button, and you will discover that we have been given an amazing opportunity to have 50 of Dr. Steve's amazing downloads, and so I want to give you an opportunity to just get a sense of everything that's there. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, because there's actually a lot of technology behind the way you produce your sessions. You use binaural tones, and you have quite a lot of technology. Do you want to say something about that and how that enhances the experience for the listeners?
Sure. It's interesting. There are a lot, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I don't even have anyone in mind. But if you think about it, anyone can get a microphone and a laptop and make something that they call a hypnosis recording. These would be the opposite of that. These would be the opposite of something that was just done on the fly. These were done with a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and frankly, cost a lot of money. I built a recording studio from the ground up. I hired 2 college graduate sound engineers. I had a handmade Rode microphone from Australia. We used Pro Tools, which is used in movies. And we really did things the right way. Not only that, but because these were college graduate sound engineers, they had a lot of engineering capabilities. So we were able to put binaural tones in there. We're able to use a lot of NLP techniques, such as analog marking and future pacing. These are all things that aid in the delivery of the message. Not only that, but if you listen to my recordings, you'll see they're not all the same. They start out differently in many cases. We have one of several inductions. That's the first part of the hypnosis session. You may hear one of several inductions. You may be walking on the beach. You may be flying in outer space. You may be flying over the pyramids of Egypt. These are just imaginary things designed to relax your mind. And so we've got a number of different scenarios that are just at the beginning to relax your mind and get you in a peaceful place. We also have a number of different musical backgrounds, one of 5 different musical backgrounds, and they're all randomized. So if you listen to a few of them, you're not going to hear the same thing over and over. In addition to that, Each of these recordings has a full half hour in the middle where it's just pure programming. Once I've relaxed you into a state of hypnosis with a walk along the beach or walking in the woods or what have you, then I can start programming your subconscious mind. A full half hour on each of these, just programming you for the specific change in the title of that recording. So, for example, if it's something like having better health, then just pure half hour of nothing but programming you to do those things that are going to increase your health.
And I don't know whether you are aware of this, because I don't think I had told you. I actually trained at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Los Angeles.
Yeah, in Tarzana.
Steve, yeah, so the HMI.
Yep.
And so I am a hypnotherapist, and so I've heard a lot of different kinds of recordings, and one of the reasons why we brought you on the show was because I have a lot of respect for the work that you do, and I know the power of the sessions that you have produced. So I think the best thing that we can do at this point is to give our audience an experience. So I'm going to ask you, because we actually have a little bit more time, if you could give them an experience of a hypnosis session.
Absolutely. And by the way, thank you for those compliments. I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from someone who actually knows what they're talking about, like yourself, who knows what's appropriate and what's not appropriate for a hypnosis session. So thank you, Adoley. And
You're welcome.
And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to actually do a hypnosis session here. I'll keep it to about 15 minutes. So we're going to do a hypnosis session that's going to start out with a beach induction. Now, I want to do a little preparation ahead of time, so if you're listening to this in a moving vehicle, this is not the time to listen. In fact, if you're listening to this doing anything other than sitting or lying down, you need to listen to the rest of this later, because hypnosis is so relaxing that if you're doing anything, dishes or jogging or riding a bike, this is going to put you into a relaxed state, and you do not want to be that relaxed when you're actively doing something. So you have two choices: either stop what you're doing and sit or lie down right now for about 15 minutes, or listen to this later. And so my understanding is if you're still listening, you're just sitting or lying down with nothing else to do. You're in a comfortable chair. If you roll to the left or the right, you would not fall out of it. You're braced properly by the chair, or you're on a couch or the floor or on a bed, someplace where you are perfectly stabilized, and you can just relax and listen to me for the next 15 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and start now with the beach induction. So I'll have you imagine yourself on a beach, and then Adoley, let me get a little bit more information before we fully start. What would you like the session to touch on, if you can give me a few bullet points?
Let's see. Let's give our audience letting go of limiting beliefs, increasing their sense of confidence and their ability to create what they want, and knowing that they have the resources, the inner resources, to attract everything that they need.
Okay, I like it. Create what you want.
Okay.
All right, and inner resources. All right, let's do that. I think we can all use some of that. It's wonderful. Okay, so go ahead, and if you're still listening, my understanding is you're just sitting or lying down for the next 15 minutes with nothing to do. Let's go ahead and begin, and start by closing your eyes. And take a deep breath in through your nose, inhaling deeply, and hold it. And when you're ready, open your mouth slightly and exhale slowly. And again, another deep breath in through your nose, hold it. And when you're ready, open your mouth slightly and exhale slowly. And then continue breathing easily, effortlessly, and comfortably. I'd like you to imagine yourself on a beautiful island. This is your island. You are alone and safe. You are at ease. You're walking down toward the water on this beautiful day. You are safe. You are peaceful. You are relaxed. And as you walk, you feel the warm sand below your feet. And between the warmth of the sun and the gentle breeze on your body, the temperature is just right. You are so very relaxed as you continue walking and relaxing, listening to the waves roll in and out, noticing the beautiful blue sky with occasional white, wispy clouds, hearing the sound of birds off in the distance and seeing them. And you can smell that unmistakable saltiness in the air as you continue walking down toward the edge of the water. And as you walk and relax and unwind, I'd like you to imagine yourself reaching the edge of the water and just standing there looking out over the beautiful water. As you turn and walk along the edge of the water now, just feel yourself relaxing more and more deeply. The relaxation as you walk starts at the top of your head and moves down slowly to your neck as you continue walking and relaxing, enjoying the sound of the water, feeling it on your feet. The relaxation moves down to your shoulders, down to your elbows as you continue walking and feeling that gentle breeze. The temperature is perfect as you continue walking, and the relaxation moves down now to your wrists, down to the tips of each of your fingers as you continue walking, unwinding, letting go. The relaxation moves down your chest area, down to your abdominal area now. That's right, and move slowly down your legs. As you walk and relax and let go, you allow your mind to unwind. This is your time to be alone, safe, and to focus on yourself now. The relaxation moves down to your feet and down to each and every toe. You now find a safe, dry, comfortable place where you can sit and face the water because the sun is about to set at the end of this beautiful day. And as you find that safe, dry, comfortable place where you can sit and watch the sunset, realize that I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1. And the lower I count, the lower the sun goes on the horizon. And the lower the sun goes, the more you relax. And as you sit down now, I'm going to begin counting as you watch the beautiful sunset. 10, the sun begins to set on the horizon, and you relax more and more deeply, because the lower I count, the lower the sun goes, and the lower the sun goes, the more you relax. 9, relaxing even more now. 8, 7, down, down goes the sun, as you allow yourself to relax even more deeply now. 6, 5, listening to the waves rolling in and out, as you allow yourself to unwind. 4, down, down, deeper and deeper you relax as the sun sets on the horizon. 3, 2, and at the count of the next number, the sun will have set completely on the horizon, and you will be completely relaxed. All right now, 1, the sun has set on the horizon and you are completely relaxed. And because you are relaxed, your mind is open to the possibility of change, open to the idea of you creating your best life. I'd like you now to imagine that on your back is a backpack. And in this backpack, you're carrying all of your limiting beliefs, all of the things that have slowed you down. And as you imagine yourself attempting to stand up now, feel how heavy that backpack is. That backpack is full of all of the beliefs that you have that slow you down. These beliefs are just thoughts in your mind, yet you have given them the ability to weigh your life down. But now you have made a powerful decision. It's a new you. You're making new decisions that empower you. I want you now to just imagine taking that backpack off, and you wonder why you were wearing it in the first place. And as you take it off and let it fall to the ground, you find yourself free now from limiting beliefs. So many negative beliefs that were holding you back are in that backpack, but they're off of you now. Forever. You have decided to let go of them. Any time in the future that you think about those beliefs, just imagine that backpack and remember they're only thoughts. You chose to accept them, and now you choose to reject them. It's always been your choice, and now you exercise your power of choice. I want you now to imagine yourself rising up above yourself. Imagine yourself floating above your body. You're just imagining this, and imagine moving forward now in time. About 6 months in the future, just imagine yourself moving along a timeline into the future, and imagine yourself setting down now in the future. You find yourself 6 months in the future, and I want you to notice as you settle down into this future version of you, I want you to notice how you've changed. You're more confident now. You're more in touch with your creativity now, and you have been using it to create amazing things in your life. You have been using your inner resources to create an entirely new life for yourself, a life that is about you and your abilities. Perhaps you've chosen to share that life with another, or perhaps you're by yourself. Either way, you're living a life that showcases your true abilities. In the past, you were holding back. You were reserving part of your power, but now you're comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable with your power. And during these past 6 months, you've been developing yourself in ways that before you only imagined. These were ideas in the back of your mind about how you could benefit others, about how you could create positive, powerful things in the world. But in the past, you thought they were only thoughts, perhaps fantasies. Now you realize that you're able to manifest them because you have manifested them. And as you look forward now to the future, you realize that you will continue doing this. You will continue manifesting things in your life that are positive for you and all those around you. You will continue moving forward as a creative being, as an innovator, as a powerful person. And as you rise up above yourself now, bring with you those good feelings of how good it feels to be in touch with your true power. And as you move back to the present now along that timeline and you settle back into your present self and the present time, you have brought with you that power to create, that power to initiate, that power to believe in yourself. You have that power now. I'd like you now to make the OK sign with your right hand, touching the tip of your right index finger to the tip of your right thumb. And think to yourself the word power now. And realize that any time in the future when you feel discouraged or you feel that you're off track, all you have to do is make that OK sign, touch the tip of your right index finger to the tip of your right thumb, and think the word power. You can relax your hand now. And when you do that, When you make the OK sign with your right hand and think the word power, you will be immediately reminded of the power you're feeling now, the ability you're feeling now, because you've just seen the future. You've just seen how a powerful person lives. You've just seen how you will be. You've just seen the truth about how wonderful and amazing you are. And in just a few moments, you're going to return to full awakening consciousness. And when you do, you will be wide awake and full of natural energy, ready to make new choices that empower you, ready to believe in yourself and your creativity and your confidence. All right, coming up very slowly to the count of 3, so that by the time I reach that final number, you will be wide awake and completely out of hypnosis, feeling very good about yourself. And before you go to sleep tonight, you will take one action that you've been putting off, one action that will signify to you that you've changed, that you believe in yourself now, that you are more motivated now than ever before to live in your power. All right, now coming up, 1, feeling very good, full of natural energy. 2, beginning to move now, beginning to stir, becoming very aware of your surroundings, very aware of where you are. And at the count of the next number, you will be wide awake and completely out of hypnosis. All right now, 3, eyes wide open, wide awake, and completely out of hypnosis. And just take a few minutes before doing anything to make sure that you're fully back.
That was wonderful, Steve. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Adoley.
Well, I know that our listeners are really going to enjoy that, and you've given them just a taste of what is possible and what's available if they choose to take advantage of the special offer. One of the things that I loved, by the way, the topic was power your mind, change your life, and you gave us an anchor in terms of accessing that power. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if you did that deliberately or just intuitively, but that was very cool.
I threw in a few extras because I know of your training and I knew that you would appreciate them, so I appreciate you appreciating them.
Yeah, well, this is really terrific, and I encourage you to listen to this session along with the other ones, and you felt the power of it, and it doesn't have all of the technological additions that Dr. Steve told us about, but it does have his wonderful voice and his technique. So that is really cool. I have to ask you what is a frivolous question, but it makes me so curious. So you were on Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker as both a hypnotherapist and a millionaire. What were you doing as a hypnotherapist on the show?
Well, it's interesting. The first time they brought me on the show, there was this guy who was lying to them. He had said one thing in his interview video, and then when he got on the show, he was saying something completely the opposite. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. I think it was like he said he wanted to get married, and then when he got on the show, he said he didn't, something like that. So they brought me on because they wanted to straighten all this out. The guy was very resistant, though. He sat up during the hypnosis. He was fighting it. You can fight it if you want, especially if you're clearly lying. You said 2 contradictory things, so it was clearly he wasn't telling the truth, and he just didn't want to get busted on TV, so he sat up, and he was very against it. Patty, the host, started yelling at him, and maybe she got through to him, maybe not. But then they decided to bring me back on as a millionaire also, and not just as a hypnotherapist. And so that's when things got really interesting. And I honestly went on the show again as a, I appreciate being recognized as a millionaire. I appreciate being recognized for the things that I've achieved financially. And that's, of course, by helping many, many people. That's how anyone gets wealthy.
Absolutely.
So I appreciated that. I think it was a good shout out for hypnosis. That was a good day. I went on looking for love because I thought, well, Patty can help me. And it didn't quite work out. But the good thing is Patty and I became good friends, and we actually became business partners. So I'm happy to say she's a good friend of mine now. Yeah, so it had a good ending after all.
Wonderful. Well, I just wanted to know about that. And then I just want to talk about some of the other incredible topics that you've been able to help people with things like pre-surgical and pre-dental pain control and natural childbirth, road rage. Hypnosis really works for... Is there anything it doesn't work for, I guess I should ask?
Well, there's got to be something. I mean, there's got to be some limit. It's one of those things where if it's for you, if you want to go that route, then go for it. And you'll find it helps for a lot of things. Some people like to go to medical doctors for everything and you get prescription medicine. I'm not opposed to people's choices. I respect people's choices. I respect their individuality. Hey, when I try to give my assistant or my stepmom advice, they tell me where to go. So, if you offer unsolicited advice to people who aren't asking for it, they don't want it. But, for people who are open to hypnosis and do want my help or do want the help of a hypnotherapist, it's a really great way to make change in a very natural way without the use of drugs, without the use of, years of therapy. And when it works like magic. It just works so quickly and so powerfully. So, for me, of course, I say, why not try it? I think everyone should, but I understand individual differences, but I'm a huge fan of it.
I'm a huge fan too, and what I can say to all of you is if you are open-minded, this is something that's worth trying, not just simply because I know that it works, and it's worked for many, many hundreds and thousands of people, probably millions of people. But the other thing is that it is so easy and non-invasive. Don't you find that that's one of the great things? All you do is you sit down and relax, and it sort of does its thing with you, which is really wonderful to be able to sit down and listen to something over a period of 21 days and to begin to see change just showing up in your life. It's wonderful. So I do understand why you chose this path, and we're so grateful that you did and that you have been able to impact so many lives, and we're very happy that you came and shared your work with us, and hopefully you will impact many of our listeners' lives in the same remarkable and positive way.
Well, thank you, Adoley. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Dr. Steve, and we really appreciate your work and the time that you've spent with us. So to all of you, if you want to see this wonderful range of recordings that are available to you, you can just hit the special offer button, and what you'll discover is that there's a package for health and wellness which has 25 different recordings ranging from weight loss to quitting smoking, binge eating, easing your allergies, healing your blood pressure, dealing with pain, achieving pain management, getting rid of migraines, you name it, it's here. The things that you would imagine that we've tried to cover all the things that people are often dealing with, and we have the post-surgical healing one as well, and immune system booster and so on. 25 recordings that deal with health and wellness, and then the second special offer deals with personal success, and this covers a wide range of issues as well: procrastination, the lucid dreaming one, so we have all those that deal with consciousness and raising your kundalini and so on. And then you have an opportunity, if you choose, to be able to get the two packages, 50 of the recordings, at a really special discount that Dr. Steve has put together. So we are very fortunate, and I have listened to many of these, and what I can tell you is that they really work. So thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Steve, and we really appreciate everything that you have shared with us today.
Adoley, my pleasure. Thank you again for having me. And to access the offer mentioned here, please visit mywellnessrevolution.com /SGJones-special-offer. That's all lowercase. Again, please visit mywellnessrevolution.com /SGJones-special-offer, all lowercase. Thank you, and have an outstanding day.
You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.